My experience at the Mount Sinai Adolescent Health Center would not have been as impactful as it was without Rachel Cologne. Rachel has a long and deep history with the center. Those of you who heard Rachel speak at the 50th anniversary breakfast last year will remember her deeply moving story of how, as a young teenager desperately in need of help, she came to the Mount Sinai Adolescent Health Center. She described how she was helped and transformed by the center's work. As resilient people do everywhere, Rachel built on those personal difficulties to fortify herself and built a successful career as a social worker with deep expertise in adolescent and young adult concerns. At the center, between February 2015 and July 2019, Rachel built a unique model in which mental health care for adolescents exposed to trauma was embedded in their primary care medical visit. This highly innovative and flexible model, now only being discovered in the wider world of healthcare, was groundbreaking. She was also a key participant in the development of a program for survivors of sexual assault that encompassed the mind, body, and spirit through the use of trauma-informed therapies, expressive arts therapy, and trauma-informed yoga, in continued support of the young people we serve. Rachel also understood the importance of supporting the staff that tirelessly do this work day in and day out, and explored and introduced the importance of wellness and self-care within the center as a way to promote and positively influence the care we provide to our patients. Rachel is one of the warmest, most empathic, clinically expert, and passionate social workers who has ever served the center's young people. I am deeply grateful for her service, and I know that the center is too. Thank you, Rachel.
They know me very well. Tissues on deck. Good morning, everyone. And thank you, Moza, for such a beautiful introduction. I appreciate it. It is with great humility and gratitude that I stand here today in acceptance of this recognition from the Mount Sinai Adolescent Health Center. I remember when I saw the job posting on Idealist. I was working at a non-residential domestic violence program. Even though I was doing great things and was happy there was something about the job description at the center that sparked a curiosity. I paused and thought, wait a minute, I know this place. I had gone as a teenager when I needed welcoming space and support to the same center. I applied with some ambivalence and optimism. Ambivalence because I wasn't certain I wanted to leave my current job, but with optimism for a fresh start. I was given the opportunity to come in and interview, and 4.5 years later, here I stand. Over those years, I developed such a love for both the center itself and the young people I serve day to day. To me, the center is a utopia where vulnerable young people are offered a space in which they feel safe, seen, and heard, and where providers speak adolescent. This utopia was what allowed me to establish healthy, meaningful therapeutic relationships with many dynamic young people. It has been such a privilege for me to be offered a window into their world, where I was trusted enough as an adult to provide guidance in moments where they were struggling with issues related to their mood, relationships, education, and other adversities. I'll share a story with you. I had the opportunity to work with a young woman who was struggling with her mood as a direct result of her trauma history. She had started college the previous year and performed poorly, and as a result was expelled from the university. She had a support person, but at times that person was unavailable to her. She had experienced so much adversity and felt she couldn't find her path to success no matter what she did. She had been let down by many adults in her life, and I had my work cut out for me. It's like she said to me once, "Don't try to sell me a dream, Rachel. I've been sold many." I acknowledged and validated her and told her, we are a team. I am in this with you. As time went on in my work with her, we began to explore returning to school. We received so much support and guidance from the center's legal partner, Youth Represent, the social work department at Mount Sinai, and the university, which she eventually chose to attend. Over time, her symptoms began to resolve, and she began to work part-time in retail. One day she came in and said to me, "Rachel, I think I'm done. I have learned ways to cope and manage, my depression is non-existent, and I feel like I'm now in the driver's seat." This analogy is something I always share with the young people to help them understand what it feels like when they're in control. I can't begin to tell you how great this felt as a clinician, but also how accomplished she felt to have come along this far. We were a team, but as I mentioned to her, this couldn't have been done without her. I have been so lucky to have had experiences like these, and many others. However, these experiences would not have been possible if I hadn't been working at the Mount Sinai Adolescent Health Center and had access to the many different resources my client needed to heal and ultimately to thrive. Under Dr. Diaz's visionary leadership, the center has grown to provide an array of vital services, like she says, from mental to dental, that enable adolescents to grow into healthy adults. Providing these services would not be possible without your support. Your donations to the Mount Sinai Adolescent Health Center is what allowed for me and many other medical providers and clinicians to support our young people to ensure they thrive. On the tables, you will see envelopes where you can donate to the center. If you haven't already, I encourage you wholeheartedly to take this opportunity to donate so that providers like me can continue to provide compassionate, free healthcare to young people. The following quote has followed me throughout my trajectory as a clinician, and I'd like to share it with you. I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel. Maya Angelou. Now it is my sincere pleasure to introduce our next youth speaker, a former client of mine, and truly a wonderful young person. Please join me in welcoming Richard.